sketchbook. Here's my sketchbook. I can show it to you if you wanna have a look. Sketchbook. Here's my sketchbook. And now I will stop this song.
Hey, Joe fans, it is me, Mark, and you are seeing the live recorded dress rehearsal of our panel from Rollout Roll Call Sunday 28th of November. We're recording this the couple of days before, just as a run through and making it available for everyone to enjoy, even if you can't attend the wonderful Rollout Roll Call show. But I'm not doing this on my own. I am joined by a very special person. Here he is.
Rubber nipples.
It's the man. It's the chief dog. He's dancing to his own jingle. He loves it. Oh, wait, you're mute. Let's unmute you. You've muted yourself.
No, I've unmuted. Chief dog is one word and it's a single G. Just to let you know.
Well, I made the jingle. I decide.
Okay. But when it's Chief Doggy Dog, then I do go double G.
Just confusing.
Yes. Now, listen, Mark is right. We are recording this prior to the show as a dress rehearsal, but it's going to be all the content that you would get if you were at the show. However, if we do manage to record it live at the show, maybe you might put that one out instead if it's of a good enough quality, because then it is show real.
Yeah, a show reel.
A show reel.
Show reel.
That's show real.
Yeah. So real and show real.
Yes.
So
yes.
let's get on with the thing.
We got 45-minute time limit here, buddy. Let's crack on.
Yeah, there's none of this 4-hour show stuff going on. It's 45 minutes. So what is Talking Joe? Chief.
Yes, back in, I think it was November 2018, in case you people out there are not familiar with the show, me and my good buddy Ben Flying Retro, we got together, we said, look, let's do a podcast. Everyone's doing podcasts. It's a trending thing. It's a hot thing. Let's get involved. What are we going to do? Now, when he moved to Australia many years ago, was living out there, he wanted to get back into reading G.I. Joe comics, which he did as a kid. And we tried to do a read-through. This was, I'm talking 20 years ago. We tried to do a simultaneous read-through and then catch up with each other to discuss the book, but it fell apart after like issue 2. So fast forward to rewind to 2018 November, and we said, look, let's do it. Let's do a pod. We had no experience. We didn't do any planning, research, anything. We said, look, we're just going to read the book, talk about it, and there you go. And then, so we started doing it. Marvel, A-Ra run. We got up to like issue. He went up to 25 episodes, and then life got in the way, stuff got in the way, and he said, "Look, I've got to drop out." I'm like, "Cool, I'm enjoying myself." Well, I'm not good for dropping out, but I was like, "Okay, gutted," but I'm enjoying doing the book. Let's see if we can get someone else in, and got in my main man, Chris McLeod Diagnostic 80, who is running the Full Force podcast and all the other ventures and stuff. Go and check out his fine work. He is one of the top 3 G.I. Joe based podcasts out there. Obviously this is one of them. That's number 2. We'll come to number 3 in a minute, but so he came on, and we had a really good run, me and Chris doing the show. We didn't miss a week from Ben leaving to Chris coming on, just seamless into the next week. Then unfortunately he also had a load on his plate. He was moving, work was getting ramped up for him, so he had to drop out. And then I put something out there on the Facebook, the Talking Joe Facebook group. Shame we got a hiatus. We got to hang up our hat. And then S-Jub7, the Jubbinator, Stephen Jubber, came to the rescue of the show and said, "Listen, I'll co-host with you. Love it." He said, "I've been listening since week 1, since episode 1." So again, we didn't miss a week. S-Jub7 came on, did a nice extended run. Then his time ended, and there was a trend of break and replace, as we say on the show. Chief will break that co-host, but then replace him straight away. And that would come around to bite him on the behind sooner or later. But anyway, that's when I drafted in my main man, Funky Bunch, Mark Seddon, who is you all know and love. He came on, episode 91. And then I think it was episode 109. It was the Chief's time to get broken. I had actually, I'll put it out there, I soured on the book and I'd soured on G.I. Joe in general as a franchise. And it was my time to leave. And luckily, you had some good people that stepped in. Real American Tim Finn, G.I.J., Cordray jumped in as well. You've had loads of guests on. You've taken the show to another level from where me and Ben started it. You've really ramped up what you're doing on the show, and hats off. I'm so pleased and proud of what you've done and taken the show carried on. But I've slightly getting reinvigorated back into the G.I. Joe world, which is cool. And here we are. We're going to be at Roll Out Roll Call, the Transformers G.I. Joe show, doing this presentation for hopefully a packed audience who will be new converts to Talking Joe. There you go. I've rambled on enough. We're wasting time. What can we look forward to on this presentation, Funky Bunch?
So, the Roll Out Roll Call is a special show for us. In some ways, it's a Talking Joe origin story. It's where me and the Chief Dog met for the first time back in 2012.
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And we sort of, I was, that was my first Roll Out Roll Call. I think it was your first Roll Out Roll Call as well. And you rocked up with your hardbound custom volumes of the G.I. Joe series, which I've since replicated myself. And I thought this guy knows his stuff.
Well, let's not go too far.
Well, he's got the stuff. He's got the stuff, even if he doesn't know it. And so firm friendship ever since. Very important show for no other reason.
That was in Southampton, was it? In a hotel in Southampton?
Southampton Hotel. Larry Hammer there and Robert Atkins and all sorts. It was a great show.
Yeah.
So what are we? Oh, sorry, that was the show. That's where you got your Snake Eyes from.
That was the show. So I was this is one of those things where I remember being at Thought Bubble in 2011, where I met your brother for the first time. And this is a similar scenario where I saw Mick McMahon, who was a 2000 AD legend, in the corner of the show with no cue. And I was like, this is a bit, this is off. This is a bit bad. I felt bad that this guy should have a cue that's ginormous. And very similarly, as Mrs. Chief, very similarly, at this show, Larry had no cue. And this is Mr. G.I. Joe. So I was like, yeah, cool. I had a half an hour chat with the man. You never think you're going to meet your people that you not idolize, but sort of heroes. If you're into sports, you're never going to meet LeBron James, or if you're into soccer or whatever, you're never going to meet Messi or Ronaldo. But here I am speaking to the man that had a big part in my childhood, reading these comic books, these funny books, from Action Force, from Battle to Action Force to G.I. Joe, and he was a big part of it. And so I asked him to do me a sketch, and he did this lovely Snake Eyes piece, just as I was chatting to him. And then I don't know if you've got it here, but I did actually get it inked. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So I got it inked by Guillermo Ortega, who is a premier inker in the comics book world, worked for all the big publishers, a lot of work for Marvel, but real nice guy as well. And he took Larry's sketch, which was nice. And, what a fantastic job he's done here. Great sketch.
It's an amazing ink job that he did on it.
Yeah.
So what we're doing here, we're sort of taking you through a history of G.I. Joe via the medium of original art. So we're going to take you on a journey of the G.I. Joe comics, and along the way you can see some excellent original art from Chief and my collection. You've got tiers in the original art world. You've got your convention sketches. You're going to turn up to a show, got a sketchbook, a loose bit of paper or something, and the artist is going to take a few minutes to give you do you a sketch. And if it's super quick and they're super kind, it might be free, or it's going to take a bit of their time. And more frequently these days, you're going to have to pay a little bit of money for it based on their legend, the sort of gets their star power, but also the amount of time and effort it's going to take them to do. So you've got your quick doodle up to a more finished piece, but then beyond that you've got your at-home commissions. So they're going to take a little bit of extra time, creates you something special in a studio environment, And then you've got your original published art, the actual art that was used to make the book that appears in the book, in the interiors and on the covers.
Yeah, one of ones, the original, the only piece, Yeah.
Yeah, one of one for sure. Okay.
Cool.
So what's up? So the comics, the G.I. Joe comics really started over in USA in 1982 with the publication of G.I. Joe issue 1, written by Larry Hama and pencils by also the legendary Herb Trimpe. And here we go. Here's the first of my commissions today. This was from a few years ago now. I was inspired to ask cartoonist Chris Garuso to recreate me G.I. Joe issue 1 in his own style. So this started off as a commission, and then a few years later, it was actually used as a Comic-Con exclusive.
Oh, I didn't know that. So basically, the piece, the black and white piece there over blue line pencils, that's the commission. So when you got this done from him, and you said recreate the cover to G.I. Joe 1, had you also said you wanted all the text and the titles and the Spidey head in the bottom left, or was that his idea to make it?
I think I left it quite open to him to decide, actually. So so the fine detail. So yeah, I left it pretty open, but he was pretty faithful to recreating absolutely everything from that first cover, and text box, Spidey,
right,
all of the rest of it. But just with the figures in his own style. The
bit that I didn't know is the coloured piece on the left, it actually got done as a convention exclusive cover for a book.
It did, yeah, which I do not own.
Okay, well, you don't own the comic.
No.
Okay,
but there we go. It was a nice surprise.
Someone rectify that stat. Get this man that comic. But yeah, nice.
So what's up next? We're talking about G.I. Joe 1 still here, and the legend there, Herb Trimpe, who attended London Supercon.
That's not Chris Garuso.
No, this isn't. So he did me a nice little con sketch in the inside front cover of the IDW Volume 1 hardcover, reprinting those first.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Mr. Trimpe.
Indeed, much missed legend. Yeah, I sort of regret that I didn't spend more time with him, at that show when I had the chance. Okay, next up in the comics journey. For me, a lot of the comics are kind of defined by the artist working on a particular run. And after Herb Trimpe moved off the book, the next key artist was Mike Vossberg. So issues, a good chunk of issues 9 to 22 were what I would call the Mike Vossberg era. So naturally, into looking at my commissions that I wanted, Vossberg had to be on the list. So this is what I asked Mike to cook me up. So this is my own idea. If it looks familiar, it's because it's based on
Days of Future Past. Yeah,
Days of Future Past. So having that poster behind. And featuring key Cobra characters, and this era on the left there is the sort of the rough pencils that he sent me for review before he then moved onto the inks. But in the poster behind, it's the key Cobra characters, and during this time there was a lot of them being killed off. It was kind of reaching the end of his run. It did feel like the kind of the end of an era, a real milestone. And when the next creative team sort of started, it did feel like almost like a new jumping on point. Some of those key characters.
Larry said, multiple times that, when you get and other people have said it, when you get a book based on a toy franchise, if you go 12 issues, you've done well. If you can do 24 issues and go 2 years, you've done very well. So, this was, around that period of numbering of the book, around the early 20s. So, Larry was like, well, I've got these characters. They're not going to be around for long, so it doesn't matter if I kill them off or, do that kind of stuff with them. And I suppose little did he know that the book would be around for a lot longer than 24 issues.
Yes, indeed. We've even got a little cameo from Mike Zeck down in the bottom right-hand corner.
Okay, nice.
Dangerous. But yeah, all of these Cobra characters, they were off the board. Major Blood was locked up. Dr. Venom was killed. Quinn was killed. Scarface was killed, and Baroness was even presumed dead by the rest of the cast at that point in time. So while all that was happening stateside, in the UK, we had the launch of Battle Action Force, sort of led by, promoting the Palatoy toy, sort of Baron Ironblood, but also some repainted G.I. Joe figures were sort of creeping on into that line. Before making, more of a splash with launching the Cobra characters and the likes of Duke and Stalker here being more up front and center as key characters. And in 1996, when London in Peril came out, that
1986.
1986, as I said, was when that came out and made a big impression on me. They were great stories.
Oh, you wanted to blow up Big Ben yourself, is what you're saying?
No. But as a kid living in London and often going into the centre of London, for shopping trips and yada yada, just seeing of all of that in that story being brought to life sort of blew my mind. Sort of, literally the characters that you love.
Yeah,
John Cooper on art on that one, and that inspired me to ask artist Robert Atkins to do me a Big Ben explosion inspired commission, which was that first rollout roll call 2012.
Yes, yeah.
And my very first fancy commission as well.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember you picking that up. That was good.
Yeah, I kind of regret sort of picking it up so early in the day. I should have let him sort of just keep it on his table and show it off because it was an incredible piece and still my very first commission really of that kind of level of detail and still one of my very favorites.
Yeah, it was a good price as well, if I recall.
It was. I mean, prices have shot up since then.
Yeah.
Next up, we have original page of art.
Okay. So, wow.
That is this thing.
Wow, nice.
So it's big, yeah, and it's on this rigid board, it's like a wobble board. So it's as a sort of thing, a tangible object as well. It's like really interesting to see, feel and see the detail of how it's created, all of the way that letters were pasted up on the page and so on. So this is a page from Battle Action Force 575 featuring Cobra in Trafalgar Square.
Or even 573.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Numbers. So, don't you work with numbers on a daily basis? Anyway.
I can write them. I can't say them.
Okay.
So
what's this?
So we are flicking through at pace. This is a John Cooper piece, as was the last one. This is a prelim for a commission that I did that John did for me via the post.
Yeah, I'm sad. I think this is a sad story here, isn't it? Didn't you actually get the last piece of commissioned work that John ever did before, unfortunately, he passed away?
Quite possibly, yeah. He passed away not long after he'd completed mine, so I might have the last piece that he worked on. So,
let's see it. I want to see it.
Sad, but here it is.
I have seen it before. It's a cracker.
Full screen. Here we go.
There you go.
So it's perfect. Duke with with a couple of the key Action Force characters there. Gung Ho, Scarlet, of course. The Cobras. John hadn't drawn the Cobras for a little while, and he was on the phone to me. He said, "Cobra Troopers. Those are those blue guys, aren't they?" Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll send you some color reference in the post, John, just to be sure.
Yeah, and those blue guys don't draw Nightcrawler or Beast. Make sure.
so yeah, a wonderful piece again. Sort of quite a piece to behold in person on a
nice color pops
large
on that,
piece of large piece of rigid board.
So
after the Battle Action Force era was over in 1986, 1987 possibly, It felt like it was off the shelves for ages, but it could have only been a matter of months before the first action-packed issue of Action Force from Marvel launched in 1987, and which I think I picked up from very early on anyway, sort of in the once I realised it was there, I bought it religiously. I think you were picking these up as well as they came out, right?
Yeah, because I didn't I had read some Battle Action Force, but I wasn't a subscriber or wasn't picking up regularly at all. My mum would get some from a jumble sale or something, or but when Action Force hit, it felt very different. It felt, I guess, a more Americanized, because it was, full color strips. It was this glossy paper.
Glossy paper, yeah.
It was almost a shift in art style to a degree. It felt a bit more modern, and I think that really, I was banging into collecting the figures, and issue 1 and 2. I think issue 1 and 2 came packed together, possibly. But yeah, I was on board this from the start.
And the key artist was the man Jeff Senior. This Destro's from your collection, Chief.
Yeah, this was from This was from London Film and Comic Con. I'm not sure, but yeah, Jeff hadn't. I'm going to say maybe 2015, something like that. But Jeff hadn't really done many cons for a long time, and he kind of started coming out and doing some. And when you got a chance to get a piece of work by him, fantastic. Because I was also reading and enjoying his work on Transformers as well at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So to get him doing work on 2 books that I was enjoying was really cool. And it's simple, clean lines here, but you get a real feel for the action. There's a lot of movement going on, even with that kind of simple stroke of almost flame, just a single stroke behind him, gives it movement to the piece, which is cool. So
he's got this amazing. I was going to say, he's got this amazing ability to just create, just this feeling of energy and this sort of, kinetic atmosphere to his figures.
He's still going to cons. He was actually at London Film and Comic Con this weekend just gone that I went to up in London, Olympia. So still out there, still doing sketches. He actually did a Storm Shadow sketch for a friend of the show, Smudger. So yeah, very cool.
And this is the one that I got done a couple of years ago now.
I remember that was Thought Bubble. You got that, I think.
That was a London show. So I think it was probably London Film and Comic Con or MCM maybe, actually. And I was thinking about what to ask him for. I loved his work on Death's Head, but more than anything, I'm a G.I. Joe fan. So I thought, how can I combine the two? And it was Death's Head with G.I. Joe trophies on the wall behind him as he's
nice, very cool.
Bounty hunter.
Cool. Yeah.
So we're still in the Marvel Action Force era, and I think the person that encapsulates that more than anyone, alongside Jeff, is the man Kev Hopgood. Tell us about this one, Chief.
This is so Kev Hopgood, obviously, like you say, him and Jeff kind of dominated the pages of Action Force, and picking a favourite between the two is tricky. I think I might like some individual panels and pieces from Jeff more, but overall, Kev's probably my man, I think, and really nice guy. And he co-created War Machine, in fact, for Marvel. But met him at some cons, absolutely lovely guy. And then I asked him for a lineup piece. I was getting kind of mugshot, police, usual suspect style pieces of different themes at the time, and I said, yeah, cool, can you do me a Cobra one? And then he coloured it as well for me. And I love the size, the chunkiness of Destro, and Zartan as well. Maybe bigger than they're portrayed in the comics, but I really like it. Great piece here, real clean lines on that Kev does. Fantastic.
Yeah, great use of blacks. And for those people who are not less familiar with Kev's work, just here's a page from Action Force. One of his best, I think.
Cracker.
Looks incredible.
Yeah, cracker. Love it.
What a cracker. Okay. So as we continue our journey through the comics, we've got ourselves to 1985 in the States and 1987 in the UK, because issue 31 of the G.I. Joe book and Action Force holiday special of that year both featured the same story. The holiday special, of course, being a reprint, but with a brand new Mike Collins cover, and it possibly my favorite issue of G.I. Joe, certainly in the top 5 for sure. So Mike Collins did a recreation of this cover, which he was selling at a con in 2011. So Peter, actually, my brother, picked up this one's, really sort of very memorable cover for me from my youth. So amazing to see that from Mike, and still on the theme of that cover, very influential on me. I thought for my last roll call that I went to, Robert Atkins, I commissioned him again, and I thought, what could I ask him for? What about his take on that iconic Action Force special cover after Collins? And this was his take. Clearly very, very similar pose and style, but similar pose, but definitely Robert's own style and his own designs and tweaks for Snake Eyes.
Yeah, I very much liked Atkins' kind of redesign and take on the Snake Eyes character from the IDW books.
Includes these little booties that he gave it.
Yeah, he modernized the outfit, but didn't go overboard in terms of redesigning it. But like you said, he kind of you can spot a Robert Atkins Snake Eyes quite quickly. So
yeah, for sure, and he does great work on his visor and all of those kind of details. Okay, next up, again, it's the issue 31 theme, and we reached out to Rod Wiggum to find out if he was doing any commissions. And when I found out he was, I was racking my brains of what I could ask him, and then I realized, actually, issue 31, he didn't do the cover, but he did those incredible interiors. Maybe he could do me sort of a big splashy page featuring the key moments from that particular issue, and that's what he did. And then I got it colored up by Simon Gower on another roll call guest that met via
or even Simon Goff.
Yeah. You say Goff, I say Gow. Let's call the whole thing.
I thought you said Gower.
Well, maybe I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the best colorists in the biz, I think.
Yes,
he always does great work.
100%. Yeah. If you need any professional colouring done, go and see Simon. He is a top man, and he's a fantastic colourist. And look at those pencils and inks from Rod.
Yeah. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. As good a take on Snake Eyes as any that he had published in the book.
Yeah.
Particularly with those magnificent colours over the top of it, just sort of really making it pop.
Very cool. Your brother got something from him as well, didn't he? When we commissioned him, he got I got 3 pieces. Yeah, I got. He got Dreadnoks. I got a Dreadnoks. I got a Talking Joe piece. And who got the Storm Shadow fighting the shark? Was that your brother as well?
Peter. Yeah. Cool. I've got another 2 pieces that I've yet to reveal on one of these shows. So that will.
Okay, right. Okay, lips sealed.
Well, it's no great secret, but yeah, they will come. Right. They will follow on a future show when I sort of share some more of my commissions that have not yet been unveiled in this format.
Right.
Okay, what is up next? Okay, so eventually the Marvel era came to a close in 1994 with the final issue from Larry Hama, 155. But that isn't the end of the G.I. Joe comic story. Oh no, my friend. just a few years later, 2001, September 2001, issue 1 from Image Comics / Devil's Due hit, making a big splash, and we're covering in a lot of detail the Devil's Due comics on the podcast now. Myself, Tim, and Jay have been reading them through. We started at issue 1. We've worked our way to the end of the first 25 issues, and also the 18 frontline issues.
And also a bit of a coup. You got Josh Blaylock on as well, didn't you, to chat to? Which is
we had a long interview with Josh Blaylock, and also more recently Brandon Jerwa. So cool. So we're getting to the real inside scoop on from that Devil's Due era. That too came to an end in 2008. I don't actually have any art from the Devil's Due run to share from my own collection. Strangely enough, might need to rectify that. But GOJ wasn't off the racks for too long, because in 2009, IDW relaunched it with an issue 0, and that ran on that sort of IDW continuity ran on for many years, onto 2018, where the IDW continuity came to a conclusion, or at least a pause, with Scarlet's Strike Force being pretty much the last issue. So yeah, lots of interesting content there. From some very good creators. The Cobra series, particularly a highlight for many. But alongside all of the brand new stuff from IDW, new continuity, the Larry Hama continuity was restarted as well in 2010, with Larry Hama and Agustin Padilla initially picking up the art chores with a free comic book day, 155 and a half. Here we go. Here's my first example from the IDW era. This is a front cover by S.L. Gallant, with inks by Gary Erskine. And I was able to pick this up from Gary Erskine at a con. I found out, I was able to get in contact with him and find out what art he still had available, and couldn't help but pick up as much as I could afford at the time, I think.
We basically raided between us. We basically raided every page of Joe he had left.
So yeah, certainly. So we've got quite a few pages. I think the S.L. Gallant, Gary Erskine era, because of that, is now my largest section of my collection, I think.
Right.
So there we go. It's great cover. Snow Serpent being whacked from behind by Blizzard, and I think this issue might be the first appearance of a Snow Serpent in the Real American Hero continuity written by Larry
Hama. Okay, interesting.
That, but took him a while for them to appear.
They featured quite heavily in Action Force, didn't they?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Lots of time for them in the pages. And then next. Okay. I forgot I had a pop fact that I had to mention about S.L. Gallant as well. So his run started with 161 in 2010, about 5 or so issues into that run, running until 2017, issue 246, with a couple of guest issues in between, but the vast majority of it was S.L. Gallant. So the IDW era of G.I. Joe, very much, for me and for most, is embodied by the art of S.L. Gallant. Incredible run.
And again, we had him on the show. We had him on the show to chat to, didn't we?
You talked to him, and then we got him back a few months ago to talk about his guest issue that he did for Murder by Assassination. Great guest. Lovely guy.
Cool.
And so the sort of after S.L. Gallant, the sort of, I guess, the IDW era is probably art-wise probably best known then for Nito Diaz, the Brazilian artist who did a few issues after S.L. Gallant stepped away to do the $1 Million Man, Bionic Man crossover, and made quite a splash with this sort of very energetic sort of modern style that he brought to the book. I know a lot of people enjoy that work, and this was a page that I bought from him directly via the interwebs from one of his very first issues.
Very cool. Yeah, highly detailed stuff.
Yeah, and that is the IDW era done. We're in 2021 as we speak now. The next issue to come out will be 288 with a spotlight on Falcon. So watch out for that hitting the racks. And it's not done. The adventure continues.
Yeah.
And so that is pretty much the end of everything that I prepared for today. Budgeted for 45 minutes, shot through 36. This is what can happen without Tim interfering by talking clever things at me.
Yeah, you won't get clever things out of me. You just get someone saying, "Yeah, that's wicked, that's cool." That was good. That was good. A nice little brief history of the comics via way of commissions as well. So and art. So it was good. It was good. Hopefully, some more people can see this that weren't aware of Talking Joe and can jump on the bandwagon and let the train ride continue until Mark gets kicked off and someone else replaces Mark. That will never happen because Mark is a lifer.
No. And I'll bring along to the show my pages, and we can sort of hold them up. People can see a physical, tangible, nice piece of art. But as we're going through as well. So
very good. Love it.
Not just the OHP. So that's us done, I think. Let me. Where's, for old time's sake, should we do one of these?
One of these. One of what?
Where are we? There we go. Have I got rid of it? All right. Actually, so yeah. So Chief, thanks for your guest appearance back on Talking Joe.
You're most welcome. Pleasure to be back.
Remind people of where people can find you. Pimp your stuff.
Yeah, Armour Geekdom is a YouTube channel putting out games, trading cards, action figures, stuff, reviews, news, things like that. Also, that's the Instagram handle is Armour Geekdom, or find me as Chiefy Two Shoes on Twitter. I'm doing a podcast actually called Gone with the Rewind, where me and my buddy Booker T watch movies we haven't seen for at least 10 years and decide whether they hold up in modern times. And also, there might be a regular return of The Outer Timers, which is a podcast I did with the original co-host of this show, me and Ben, talking about retro culture from the 80s and 90s. So look out for that coming soon. We did a trilogy of audio experiences of episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars, and we're hoping to put out a Jaws one before Christmas.
Excellent. Very good. And if you've just stumbled on us somehow, you can find out more of the detail about Talking Joe at talkingjoe.co.uk. And let's do a retro sign out, Chief. Along there, when all's said and done, you can catch us down the road.
Because we've been Talking Joe.
And we're all out of Joes.
Laters.
Laters.